A forgotten artifact lies in pieces on a planet far from Earth. Few know it exists except those who took it back and those whose ancestors created it. 4 young people are thrown into a race against emissaries of the gods to find his pieces. Mistrust, greed, and magic are tangled in an endless web. What will the fate be of the universe once it is found and reassembled? Get Scepter of the Gods, The Rod of Truth now on Amazon, and get wrapped up in the saga that will not let you go.
Good morning and welcome to the Motivational Devotional, where we are merging motivation and spirituality to create a daily dose of confident positivity. I hope that this morning's podcast will help you to be more spiritually and positively motivated so that you can transform your day.
Good morning, I'm Mark the Writer, and I want to thank you for joining me today as we continue our series, 50 Ways to Love Your Soul. I hope you've been able to follow along with the series and are finding it helpful in getting your own new year going in the direction of your lifelong goals. And if you know anyone who could use some encouragement in setting goals, then please share this podcast or the blog version from motivational-devotional.com. So I realize I run the risk with this podcast of it being one of the least popular of everything I've done since last May when I started the Motivational Devotional. Admittedly, who wants to wake up early? You work hard, you're tired, and the last thing you might want to do is lose some of the precious sleep you don't get most days. Let me start with myself. I used to say that I doubted if the world was even spinning yet at 5 a.m. Then I joined the Air Force, and I had a huge wake-up call. I know people use that term to mean a revelation of sorts, but I mean it literally. Every day, we had a huge wake-up call, and it consisted of a training instructor walking through the dorm, banging on metal beds with a stick and shouting to rise and shine. Oh, it was lovely and so relaxing. We were up at 5 a.m. every day for 6 weeks. Then I went to technical training school, where classes started at 7 a.m., and if a guy wanted breakfast before class, which was highly recommended, getting up at least by 5 a.m. was critical. That was 6 more weeks. My wake-up call turned into a habit that lasted a long time after I became a civilian again. That was long ago, but I still get up at 6, even on the weekends. I've slept in many times, of course, but this isn't a podcast about getting up early as a regular habit. In fact, I'm not much of a routine person anyway, and sometimes I follow inspiration and stay up late working on something, which throws me off the next morning. But what this is a podcast about motivation and spirituality. So let me paint the picture of how early mornings apply to both of those. A couple of old sayings come to mind as apply to motivation. The early bird gets the worm, and early to bed, early to rise makes a man healthy, wealthy, and wise. While both of those are true, maybe we've heard them enough that we don't even think about the meaning behind them. The first one, of course, means that opportunities are taken by those who jump on them and get started, not by those who procrastinate. The second, attributed to Benjamin Franklin in his Poor Richard Almanac, is a bit problematic. You can go to bed early and get up early and still never be healthy, wealthy, nor wise. The difference is that to be those things, you have to use that early time to press forward towards your lifelong dream and your goals with relentless intent. Like the early bird, you don't get healthy, wealthy, nor wise unless you go after the worm. For me, early morning, not just morning, but early morning, is sacred time. That doesn't mean I don't share it, and in fact, I love sharing that time with someone special. But it isn't time for social media, shopping, watching TV, or playing video games. I could joke and say one of the most sacred things about it is the coffee, but that is no laughing matter and no joke. More seriously, that time is sacred because it sets the tone for the rest of the day. In that sacred time, while cherishing that first cup of coffee, I write poetry, sketch, and work out or do yoga. It's time for me to be sure I focus on my mind, creativity, and place in this world. It's a time for being thankful, and when shared, it's a time for reflective conversation. If I wake up later because of maybe staying up later or some other reason, I lose that time. If I lose that time, then I lose those sacred activities and those opportunities because it's already time to do other things. After a certain time in the morning, it's time to attend to business. At least for me, it doesn't work to try to recapture my sacred time out of time that feels like it's already clicking along with the hum of the day. It just doesn't work. While a lot of what I just said applies to motivation, it's also spiritual, isn't it? Beginnings can be deeply spiritual time, as can be endings. That's why I write poetry in the morning and not usually in the middle of the day, but then I would just have a different feel to the thought process. For me, beginnings, like early morning, offer the opportunity to greet the day, welcome it before it gets entrenched into full daylight, and to be intentional in setting the tone I want to have for the day. I can't change what is going to happen to me during the day, but I can use my early morning practice to adjust my internal settings to be adaptable, positive, and grateful. And that's another thing as I greet the day. I express gratitude for being able to live yet another day and for the opportunity to pursue my lifelong dream in the day that is about to come. I don't feel that it's very possible to do any of this if the alarm goes off, the feet hit the floor, shower, shave, dress, grab coffee on the way out the door, and boom, right into the thick of things without any preparation. But don't get me wrong, I've done that and done it plenty of mornings. It makes for a frazzled day in which I run around like a chicken with my head cut off. And at the end of those days, it might have been better to just stay in bed. 19th century writer Richard Whately said, "Lose an hour in the morning and you'll be all day hunting for it." And that's true. There is also a great blessing in those crazy mornings that I wake up an hour or more earlier than my early morning. For some reason, just a few days ago, in fact, I woke up an hour and a half before I normally get up. I tried for 30 minutes to go back to sleep and couldn't, so I just got up. Now, I could have griped and moaned about being up and not being able to sleep, but I didn't. It was quiet, especially really quiet outside. I left all the electronics off, except my iPad, and I sat down to write. I took the opportunity to love those very early moments and let the universe move through me to bless me, since, apparently, although I wanted sleep, the universe had other ideas. Those inexplicable mornings of waking up way ahead of the alarm have given me a lot of good stuff over the years, and so I don't push against them. They make me appreciate life all the more. So I love them. If I changed to get up at that time every day, then it wouldn't be getting up early, would it? It would be getting up at the regular time. So I just let those moments be those now and then moments of inspiration, communication with God, reflection, or whatever. My regular time is still kind of early to some people, especially on the weekend, but I won't change it. I think more people would enjoy life at a slower pace, a more manageable pace, if they would get up a little earlier than normal, love that time, make it sacred, and gather the mind and spirit together to focus for the day. You can't do it at any other time of the day. I find that it's a great moment to remember that all of creation is conspiring in my favor, and I trust for one more day that the universe always has my back. There is a Senegalese proverb that goes like this: "The opportunity that God sends does not wake him up who is asleep."
Thank you for taking the time to listen today. Please help keep this podcast going by following the Motivational Devotional Facebook page, following @Threefold Way Radio on Twitter, and sharing the written format of today's message from motivational-devotional.com on your social media. I am deeply grateful for your support, and thank you for letting Motivational Devotional be part of your journey. Peace out. See you tomorrow. Motivational is a production of Threefold Way Radio, LLC.